Electricast.
In this ad for the Mobile One brand, I have 30 seconds to talk about driving, which might be what you're doing right now. Maybe you're in the car, you're free, you're in control, on an open road with an open calendar. Your mind is wandering, and you're going with it. Or maybe you're stuck at work, in meetings, or emails, or worse, meetings about emails. And if that's the case, there's only one question. Why? Mobile One, for the love of driving. Visit loveofdriving.us/radio to learn more.
Welcome to the next edition of MTP. I am your boy, Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan, with my guy, mightily Marcangelo. Mike, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. It's been a minute. I feel like I've been off for a month, but it was literally just a week. But yeah. we got some things to talk about today.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel when I'm off too. It's just like, Bobby and DK will hold it down, or some variation of you three will hold it down, and I'm all away. So, we did our best to hold it down in your absence last week. But yes, it's fitting on this day that you and I, who have been at odds about what we're going to talk about, who knows, we may still be at odds after this, but let's see if there's something that we can touch and agree on this here. So, once again, the theme is still the same. Your New England Patriots, our New England Patriots, have now fallen to 1-5. It fits into my theme of saying they were going to go 1-16, but once again, we can get into that later on. It was the debut of Drake Maye as QB1. They did fall to Houston, 41-21 at home. And my quick synopsis before I let you go is that I've never seen myself or many others be happier with a 20-point loss. So the floor is yours. Just what were your thoughts on yesterday's game overall? And just more importantly, what did you like from seeing from Drake Maye?
Yeah, so obviously when you're talking about Drake Maye, you can't walk away from that game and feel anything but positivity from the quarterback position. We talked about this, you and me, and I think it was just you and me, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I said, listen, I don't want Drake Maye to start this year because I don't want to ruin a kid. You know what I mean? Like, and after that strip sack, I was like, oh, well, he's dead. We just ruined him. But what we also talked about was, the stagnant offense under Jacoby Brissett, where he was throwing for 127 yards, but wasn't turning the ball over. It's going to look a little different under Drake. Like, he's probably going to throw for, I think I even said 240 with a couple touchdowns and a couple picks. And that's what we saw. But that's fine because his play clock in his head it's gonna ramp up as he gets more and more reps. I loved that deep ball to Booty. I mean, I thought that was just talk about something that we've been missing for the last 3 years, maybe even 4 if you want to include that year with Cam. But he was so sure about that throw. He hit that third step on the back foot, and he knew where he was going, and he just dropped it right in the bucket. So the kid is, I mean, he's got all the talent, all the potential. The big thing from that game though is, can he sustain that behind the line that we saw this week for the next 12 games? And I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that should be the biggest question, right? I think that for those, if there's anybody that's still wondering if he should play, let's kill that. Yesterday should have showed you when everything else around him is figured out. In the words of Gus Johnson, watch out. Because if you can do that with this many subpar pieces around you, I can only imagine how it's going to look when you get the requisite pieces in order to succeed. I think you're going to be surprised by the grade I give. And I didn't ask you for a grade, but I'll give a grade, and you can say if your grade was similar. I'm right around a C plus B minus. And the reason why
for him specifically,
for him, fair. And the reason why I say it, because obviously, listen, when the tip turnover. I mean, listen, Will Anderson turned into Reggie White yesterday. Will Anderson turned into Reggie White. It was like, wow. So whatever, that tip ball, that happens. The first throw, that was a bad throw. The first INT was a bad throw. And then, whatever, got the sack. Even though the fumble really was on him because the line just let everyone through. But I'm leaning towards the B minus because once again, not one, not two, but three different touchdowns. Once again, we probably would have been down 28-0 with Brissett at the half yesterday.
100, yeah,
Realistic,
100%.
100%, right? So,
Or you would have been down 14 nothing, and it would have
right,
felt like it was 35 nothing.
right, correct. So for him to come down once again, 2-minute drill or 4-minute offense, I forgot how much time was left. You come down, you get one to Henry, and then you get one to Douglas. Um, and that's what we spoke about, right? Can you show some escapability? Can you extend plays? Can you make the right reads? He checked most of those boxes, if not all of them, yesterday, right? So
Yep.
there's a lot to be, yes, there's some things left to be desired because it was his first start and he's a rookie and he's going to grow. But what was most encouraging, it seems like he's not going to make the same mistake twice because some of the throws you saw in the first half, you didn't see in the second half. And mainly speaking about Pop Douglas, right? Like he missed Pop. I think Pop, he threw one to Pop where he kind of, he didn't lead him. And then, he caught it, I think, but it was like just the first down. In the third quarter, on that last touchdown he threw, where he hit Douglas in stride, and it was to the house. And
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, like he's figuring it out on the fly, which is why so many of us were like, hey, what are we doing? So maybe they weren't lying in practice, right? They were saying, hey, he's getting better with this, he's getting better with that. And we saw it during the preseason too, right? Like we seen it from the Philly game to the Washington game, which was the last preseason game. He had already gotten better then. So, and I think that's why so many of us, like myself, were banging the drum, from week one. But like I said,
But,
I'm in that C plus B minus range.
well,
I was pleased.
specifically though, Ray, not to
Mhm.
cut you off though, but
Yep.
specifically for me, it was never about can he play. It was about should he play. And the
Mhm.
reason I would always say, and I'm still banging the drum of, I mean, yeah, it looks better, but my biggest fear, and I hope this doesn't happen, but I'm going to put it out into the universe just to make sure that we have it recorded,
Mhm.
is this kid gets hurt week 15, week 16, and is out
Right.
for a year, and now you lose next season too. So
Right.
yes, he has all the physical capabilities to be a quarterback. He's making players that looked awful in an offense that looked anemic under Jacoby Brissett look a formidable offense. I mean,
Right.
the running game without Ramondre Stevenson is bad,
Mhm.
obviously, but
Mhm.
for Drake Maye to lead the team in rushing, I mean, we haven't had a quarterback lead the team in rushing since Cam Newton,
Right.
and Cam wasn't thrown for 245 every week and three
Right.
touchdowns.
Right.
So if you're asking me for a grade, I would grade him a B or a B plus because I do think that the tip pass was a. I mean, that's he's not going to make that mistake again. He threw that way too low and way too close to the defensive line. But
Mhm.
I thought, for him to make Pop Douglas look like the Pop Douglas that we've seen and talked about over the last couple of years in training camp and in the preseason, he was getting Hunter Henry back into the mix. I don't know. I just thought this if he is the future, and you actually get a left tackle and an
Mhm.
offensive line around him, and you don't need to add 2 to 3 wide receivers. You realistically, what I learned from that game against the top 10 defense was if you give him just one number one, Pop Douglas is a good number two. Kayshawn
So
is a good number three.
okay, so it warms my heart what you're saying, but I'm still a little nervous for what you just said at the end, right? Because we fell into that trap for 20 years before then. Where it's just give no, I want as many as possible. Fuck, give me just one. I need as many great skill players as possible. This is not 2014 where it's like just give me Brandon LaFell and Brandon Tate and I'll make it. No, no, no. I
Well,
want at least
well,
three
he
to four
did still
guys.
have. I mean,
Yeah,
that team did still have Gronk, Jules, Amendola, oh, and Brady.
right,
Like,
correct. But I'm saying I just so I'm saying I need that. And once again, even with Amendola became playoff Dola here, but it was quiet for him at St. Louis, respectfully. It was until
yep,
he got here and he became much of a better player. But needless to say, like I said, I just rather them go out and get as much as you can, whether it's through development here or let's say you get someone in the draft. I want to be clear, and I think I didn't say this before. I did talk about Will Campbell, but this is hyperbole, but it really isn't. Every draft pick in 2025 needs to be a lineman. Period. Yeah, every whether it's offense or defense, every pick needs to be a lineman. So whether you want to go 3 offensive, 4 defensive, or 4 offensive, 3 defensive, every pick next year needs to be on the line. So if you're at 1 or 2 and you get Will Campbell, great. Second pick, a guard. Third pick, a center. Fourth pick, a right guard. Fifth pick, like everything needs to be in the interior because games are won and lost in the trenches. That's not an
Yep.
opinion. That's a fact. So it's been like this since 1920. So please, Jerod Mayo, Elliott Wolf, Jonathan Kraft, whoever else is out there helping making the football decisions, please go get the line and then use all your free agency money to go get talent at other positions. Go do that, but you got to get the line and you just go from there. But I want to get into more of this, right? That we talked about just how we looked. Now, they mentioned in the presser that the first 15 plays were, dialed in to kind of, play it safe and, um,
So stupid.
into it. But so yeah, so good. I'm glad you said that. So it's just like expand on that because I have my own thoughts, obviously, that's similar to yours, but I wanted to know like just what was the feeling around the play calling, not only at the beginning of the game, but at the end. And I'll expand on more of that. But I want to get thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, like, listen, if the goal, the first 15 plays is to script the offense and get your quarterback feeling good, I understand that premise, but it wasn't working. The whole thing that we've been talking about this entire offseason, and also like more specifically 2 weeks ago, was we had no confidence that Alex Van Pelt was structuring the offense and leading and gearing it more towards Drake May. And that could not have been more evident than in those first 15 plays. He looked very uncomfortable. It looked like he was being asked to do things that did not come, second nature to him. So once you saw him having to make the calls on the field or when all hell broke loose, I think I was looking at the stats earlier. He was averaging 7.5 yards per attempt. When he was actually moving outside the pocket, it was 9.1 or something like that. So he can move, he can buy time, and big plays can happen.
Right.
Hopefully, Van Pelt saw the difference between the first 15 plays and the remainder of the game. It was like, okay, I can now call a game and
Mhm.
structure and scheme an offense around this talent. I doubt it, but that's what I'm hoping.
Right. No, totally feel that. I think for me, I had a big issue with the beginning as well because I'm like, yo, back to back runs and you're missing Ramondre. Like, what are you doing? If anything, they were expecting you to run, which is why they had so many in the box. That'd have been a perfect time to do a play action with Gibson and
Right.
then throw it over the top to Hunter Henry, right?
Yep.
Or even Austin Hooper, even though he, thought he tried to become something that he wasn't yesterday, and also gave us a costly turnover. But I also had a big issue with what happened at the end, right? And I don't know if it's unwritten rule. I don't know if it's a thing they just wanted to get out of there, tuck their tails, and get off the field. You had a chance to potentially score again and work on something in the final minutes. And then with 15 seconds left, I think we finally got a completion of the poke. And then they had all 3 timeouts, didn't use them. And I'm just like, yo, like, this is not 2010 where you could take for granted what you have out there and say, "Well, we'll work on it in practice," or no. In a game situation, last time I checked, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Last time I checked, it is not a 40-minute game. It's not 48 minutes like basketball. It is 6-0. 60 minutes. So play to 0-0. Sorry. Like I'm not giving up a moment where my team can execute and look better just because y'all think it's garbage time. Respectfully, screw anyone that had that mindset. Oh, it was already over. Really? Okay. Well, I'm working on something until the clock is 0. and they say that's the ball game. Like to me, I have a big issue with that.
I mean,
I thought it was soft and weak.
the rationale is probably they don't want to risk an unnecessary injury when they don't have to, right? That's what I would imagine. Not even
They
just to
literally
Drake Maye,
called the
but to
dogs off.
anybody.
They
But
called
to
the dogs
anybody.
off. They called the dogs off. They literally were
No,
rushing.
listen, I'm with you. You could rush
Yeah.
2 against this line and still get through.
No,
So
right, no. Right, but I was literally was rushing for, but it's like that's the thing. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson once again look like Reggie White and Gilbert Brown. Once again, if you know, you know. If you don't know, Google is your friend. But those two were unreal. Or if
yeah,
you
but
want to go, yeah.
every DN this year, Ray has looked
No,
like
but no, but
Reggie
I
White
mean,
against us.
Will Anderson, he's special. He was a high pick. He's
Yes.
special. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of the guy that they got when we was at Dean that went #1 back years ago. Was it Mario Williams? Might be him. I think it's the same Mario
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they get JJ. Like they know how to
And Clowney.
draft at that position. Yeah, exactly. They know how to draft for that position. They just do. Like ever since they've been in existence as a Texas organization, like they have not missed when it comes to guys that can play at that spot. They don't miss. So yeah, but between that, they like so you bring in Daniel Hunter from Minnesota, and it just turned into a shit show as it's been all year. But like I said, unfortunately, most of it is because of health, not because of they're so terrible. Because week 1, they was okay. It was just once again, everything had to be perfect for that line to be okay. We don't know if Cole Strange is coming back. I think Andrews is out for the year, right? Andrews is out for the year.
After the year.
Yeah, Andrews out for the year. So it's like, we'll see if Cole Strange comes back. What do you do with Michael Manu? Vidarian Lowe unfortunately got hurt on Sunday. He'd been playing well, so it's just like, Michael Jordan, awful. And once again, you never will hear that statement ever again. Like Michael Jordan just trash. I forget the other guy that played. That was something. I can't even think of the kid's name. He was number 75, which is disrespectful because 75 before him was a Hall of Famer. Was a Hall of Famer.
I think
It's a joke.
didn't they
Lamont
cut him today?
Jacobs, Andre Jacobs, something like that. Yeah.
So they cut Nick Lever today. But I mean, tell
Okay.
you what, Ben Brown, the starting center.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome.
He was the best offensive lineman out there.
Yeah.
And you just picked him up this past week. I mean, I thought you can see areas, or you can make excuses for like the defense, right? This defense would be so much better if all the people that we thought were going to be playing this year were playing, right?
Mhm.
I get that. The wide receivers are growing into it great. Drake Maye, we know what he is. But we knew the offensive line was a problem in preseason week 3 in 2023, and nothing has been addressed.
Mhm.
And now you're putting like your number 3 overall pick out there to hopefully not get killed. Like that's what you're doing. That's embarrassing. That strip sack. I mean, I was so mad. I literally I probably yelled a swear at the television because it was just like, how did it took what 7? It took 2 minutes into the second half for him to almost die. Like you just can't do that. And Sosi thought he was out. They're like, that's how you separate your shoulder. And instantly I was like, oh great.
But also too, it's like anytime, and it's been like this all season. It's really been like this the last 3 or 4 years, except for 2021. But whenever they have built momentum, they instantly kill it.
Especially
And it's
at
just
home.
like, yeah, especially at home. And once again, it goes back, and people had texted me after that show that we did in the summer, when I went on that rant about Red Robin and other stuff, and it's like, oh, like you tripping? I'm like, well, I'm not tripping. They have sucked at home. Once again, I'm rooted in facts. I'm not. This is not an opinion. That's a fact. They have sucked at home. It is real sweet when people come up to Gillette. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer kill or be killed. It's not. They come in there, they get into the visitors' locker room, they kick their feet up, have a little catering. get out there, sign some autographs, throw some footballs around with the fans, say, hey, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being a fan. They win by 10, 15. In this case, they win by 20. Shake hands after, get on the bus, and see you later. This is once again, it's a get right game every week. Every week is a get right game. And once again, Houston's obviously really good, so it's not like they needed a get right game. But every team comes in here or shaves us on the schedule now, and they salivate. They salivate at the chance of getting 3 or 4 sacks, getting maybe an interception or 2. So it's unbelievable to me. Just once again, just how we've gotten there, but it is what it is. But I do want to get back to something positive because we touched on this a few moments ago. But Pop Douglas, who he had 6 catches, 92 yards, a touchdown. Kayshon Boutte, who had 3 catches for 59 yards. So those are breakout performances for those 2 guys. But just talk about what you've seen from them, and then just on the other end, man, Jalen Pope. I don't know what happened, bro, but it's getting real quiet on here. So I just want you to elaborate on that, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. All right. So you know me, I'm going to start negative. So I have to start with Jalen Polk, aka Clifford Franklin. Like, he needs to get that stickum put on him immediately. I don't know what's been happening, and if you don't know that reference, go watch the fucking Replacements and educate yourself. It's one of the best movies of all time.
Never say
Like,
Falco.
I a guy with such promise and has been known for like his catching ability and hands in college. Just can't like it instantly after watching that game and hearing I don't know if it was on the radio or if it was on the TV broadcast, it said that he's been targeted 23 times this year and only has 9 catches. I mean, that's atrocious. So he could potentially have 100 targets this year and only have 50 catches. That's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
But compared to what we've had, I'll take the 50. Just don't give me 9.
Sure.
But I'll take the 50.
Sure.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of confidence, but it's also the first time, his first game playing with Drake. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that we're going to see the emergence of Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte over the next couple of weeks, especially against Jacksonville. I think that Jacksonville defense, and we'll talk more about that, is right for it. But that's why I was saying earlier is, yeah, I think you still need to go out and get yourself a number 1. Or even like a really great number 2. Like, if you get yourself T. Higgins as your starter and number 1 wide receiver, I think Pop and Kayshon are really good compliments. I do.
Even Bourne when healthy, like, I mean, obviously he was kind of coming back into the fold yesterday, but I think that even with him, like, I feel like he is someone that can be, because like I said, him and Mac, he was Mac Jones safety blanket while he was here anyway. So I feel like he is someone that can grow into that. He's probably the best route runner on the team still. So yeah.
100%.
So
I don't know. I mean, Jalen Polk runs great routes. He just can't catch the ball.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing though. So and when I was trying to refrain from saying this, but whatever, we're here, so we might as well just put out that we don't run for the smoke here on MTP. But I think about the catch a few weeks ago where it didn't count right, that we thought was a catch. I think about the touchdown that got called back, right? And my fear is that we're starting to watch the N'Keal Harry 2.0, because we know that touchdown that got taken back against Kansas City was essentially the end of his career, right? No, I'm serious though. Like, he literally just like gold dust. If you know, he faded off into the sunset. And I'm just like, wow, like this is, he literally has shattered dreams. But it's unbelievable to me how he just kind of just fell off like that. But same thing with Javon Baker. You told us in the offseason, people gonna get about their wheelchair. Well, guess what, brother? They're still in rehab. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. So I want to see more from the 2, because I think those 2 can provide more. And once again, maybe as they grow in practice, they'll get that continuity. They get those reps with the first team. Because like they were saying a few weeks ago that it was 70%, 30% May. So obviously that will flip around. Now
it better be 100% May for going.
Yeah,
forward.
I mean,
it's gonna be 90-10.
I think it'll probably be 80-20. They're not. I don't think they're gonna fully just say, but it'll be 80-20.
Yeah, well, I just think
it should be it should have been 100-0 from the start, but that's another
Yeah,
story. But yeah, and I'm with you. Trust me. I just think that's just how they're gonna move. I think last night kind of well, yeah, yesterday proved to me like Mayo's not completely running the show yet. I think now
no.
we still, it was you let AVP run some stuff, they let Elliot Wolf run some stuff, and Mayo's the puppeteer. You had an interesting point about Mayo in our group chat yesterday. So, which leads into the defense. Obviously, the defense, gave up 41 points. So, I wanted you to elaborate on what you're seeing from Mayo on the defensive side of the ball because that was supposed to be his expertise. So, I wanted you to elaborate on that.
I just love how you build me up initially. You had a really interesting point. My
Mhm.
my text was Jerod Mayo might suck. Like he just, he just might, And what we've seen over the last like 3 weeks, especially, are let's just say four last month 24 points against the Jets, 30 points against the 49ers. And
Mhm.
then, I mean, I actually think that the 15 points against the Dolphins and Huntley is more embarrassing than the 30 points against the 49ers. But then 41 on Houston. This, when was the last time a team dropped 41 points on the Patriots at Foxborough or in Gillette? It's been a long time.
Oh,
And,
Kansas
and,
City.
and,
Kansas
and
City.
you didn't score 30.
Oh, right. No, yeah, right. But yeah,
Right.
right. But I'm saying it was Kansas City. That game, it was 43-40.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there. But
Beautiful
I
game.
I
Yeah.
just I find it odd when you're looking at it doesn't look like he has any sense of like feeling of what's going on defensively. And again, this defense is ravaged by injuries. I understand that. Christian Barmore not being there sucks. They traded Judon, so it's not like he's hurt. He's just not there. So they felt
Right.
confident enough in either what they had already on the field or what they're going to get back in compensation. Sure,
Right.
but like you, the secondary is just getting beat. Everyone but Gonzo is getting beat.
Mhm.
Everybody but Gonzo is getting beat. They don't have a pass rush, and even when the defense now again, DK. Now this is an eloquent point. He pointed this out to me in the chat. He's when I compared him to Belichick. He's like, "Oh, so you're comparing him to the greatest coach of all time?" Yeah, I get that. But if you just go back to like 2011, historically bad defense for the Patriots, historically bad. They were always good between the 20s, right? It was always bend but don't break.
Right.
This
Right.
team doesn't have that. They just don't have it. And if Mayo wasn't hired because of his ability to coach defense, why did you feel so confident in picking him? Because it doesn't seem like he's an expert at anything.
And you were pointing him 5 years ago.
Correct.
5 years ago, you were pointing him saying, that's my guy. Without
Right.
without without doing any due diligence about getting him surrounded. Once again, we'll talk about this when we get into the Celtics later on, but it's like the best thing that they did for Joe Mazzulla was bring other coaches around that were more experienced. So Charles Lee, who's now in Charlotte, but Charles Lee, Sam Cassell, obviously, Will Hardy left. But I'm like, they had guys that were
Right.
more that had been around the game or had been coaching more, and then he was able to do what he did well, and then they were able to bring it what they did well, and it was a game changer. So it's just to me, and Bill O'Brien actually made the point about that on Patriots pregame yesterday. He talked about it. He was like, "Yo," he said, I moved on because, for lack of a better word, I felt like Gerard should have been able to bring in this guy. He said, I was brought in from Bill, some others were brought in from Bill, and it probably was time for a first start overall. But the problem is, a lot of those Belichick guys are still in the front office. That's the problem.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's like, and let me be clear, I loved what he said earlier when it was like, oh, just like, just what do you think about? I'm paraphrasing. It was like, oh, like, what do you think about the roster construction from last year? He was, basically like, who do you think contributed to the roster? He was like, you know the answer to that. He's like, I'm not going there. He said, but yeah. So I thought that was great because he's been taking shots at Bill ever since he got into the role. So I love that. So maybe they weren't as close as I thought. Uh, but I get it too. Like,
Well,
sure,
I thought O'Brien last year was a Kraft move, not a Belichick move.
well, I mean, that's what Bill O'Brien said on the
Right.
so, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so I mean, but he did say like Jonathan and Mr. Krabs came together. So I guess he basically said they came together and talked. So great. And once again, he's reviving BC down there. So maybe it really was just a talent thing because it's like the fact that, and I know we hated this guy I'm about to bring up, but I'm like, yo, the fact that Matt Patricia's offense looked better than what was going on the first few weeks here is insane. Matt Patricia's a
Well,
no,
Mac Jones is better than Jacoby Brissett. That's not
yes,
close, Ray.
but
Ray,
yeah,
it's not
no,
close.
yes, yeah, no, yes. But I'm just like, wow, like you like Matt. They was averaging getting 19 points a game. You wasn't even getting that with
Well,
this now.
offensively, they were averaging 13.5
Right.
points.
So I'm like, Jesus, like that's insane. So, that's scary. It is what it is. But I say the same about Mayo. Like, I think to me, he is in over his head right now. He is. There's no other way to say it. I want him to succeed. I want him to do well. As
Me
Patriots
too.
fans, we obviously want him to succeed, obviously.
Yeah.
My thing is, and I talked about this when we met earlier about this. Cause me and DK and Bobby talked about last week, but I didn't get a chance to ask you because you were out of town. But
Racing against the hurricane.
right, exactly. I'm glad you got out of that because that would have been insane. Or it was insane to see the pictures and videos. But hope everyone down there is doing well. But would you give a call to Rob Saleh?
No.
Why not?
Because so instantly if Robert Saleh walks into that room, he is the person that the players would look at as a head coach more than Jerod Mayo. Because
I
like it
know.
or not, he's had more success.
I know.
And you don't want to add. I don't want Jerod Mayo to be fired. I want him to get better, and I want him to
Right.
pick the talent or the coaches around him. I don't think. I mean, what does Robert Saleh know about winning? Really, in reality,
Hold on. That's not. It's not about no. So yes, that's fair, right? And again, when you're attached to the Mormon Milf Hunter, it's like it's tough.
better when
But
he was their quarterback.
true, but at the same time, defensively, he's always had it. Those Jets defenses were never terrible. It was just the offense that sucked. So I need to see the defense get better. So whenever we have to, once again, it's a Robert Kraft special. I said it last week. It's a Robert Kraft special to bring in guys that don't have to get paid. Why not? Even if he leaves next year and someone hires him, fine. For the rest of the year, come in as a consultant, Robert. Come in as a consultant. Work with the
But
defense, coach certain guys up so that the technique is there going forward. Help out DeMarcus Covington because as much as I think he's going to do a good job eventually, he doesn't have it right now, and that's okay. So bring in somebody that knows what they're doing on a defensive end, can give some added experience. Once again, we thought Joe was going to get fired too when Sam Cassell and some other guys came in. And guess what? They won the damn championship. Obviously, they're not going to win the championship here in New England right now, obviously. But can you give the building blocks right now for what's next?
I like that example that you just gave, and I want to kind of play into that. But ultimately, I do think that your scenario right now that you just outlined highlights the bigger issue. Is what was Joe Mazzulla's specialty before he became a head coach?
Defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the year with Ime, they were pretty good defensively. The year before that, he was still on the staff, right? He was a Brad guy. They weren't great defensively. What was Jerod Mayo's calling card as a coach?
I mean, he was on defense.
Why can't he fix this?
Yeah, I think sometimes what happens is when you go from coordinator to coach, you try to focus on one particular area, not understanding that it's everything that has to be under your umbrella. And once again, maybe he learns that next year, maybe he learns that in a couple of years. But until you learn that fully, why not bring some other guys in who already know what that looks like? Once again, I said this when the hire happened. I'm not interested in feelings. I'm interested in results.
Yeah, we know you don't want to
Once
be.
again,
You're not going to support a.
some of my kids could now my kids start listening to the show a little bit. They like our dynamic. So what's going on, y'all? When y'all hear this, I say that in the classroom too. I'm not interested. And once again, sometimes I'm interested in the feelings, but I want what is the end result? What's the solution? That's what I'm concerned with. Because if we're we're aimlessly going around trying to figure out a solution, when there might be one in front of us, do that. But once again, I just said should they call? Once again, I didn't say should they hire, but you should at least call and have the conversation to see if he's willing to come, especially with just coming here in a few weeks. I think that would be amazing.
It's just
In
weird
my
for me
opinion.
though, because like your Missoula thing, your comparison makes sense in my head, but
Right.
when he went from being specializing in defense with Ime as the coach, and then he took over, they
Mhm.
didn't go from a top 10 defense to a bottom 10 defense. They weren't
Right.
as good defensively, but they were still top 15 in the
They,
league.
they they immediately got better offensively because they wasn't that good offensively. They got to the finals in 22.
Right.
They caught fire the second half of the year, obviously, the second half of the season. But Joe's philosophy was we're going to shoot a million threes, we're going to pass the ball, and we're not going to switch everything. Because I think that's what Ime was like. We're going to switch everything in a day. And once again, sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. But I just had to say, like, although they let Joe grow, they put stuff around him to expedite the growth. And that's all I'm saying. Help expedite the growth because right now we could be seeing the emergence of Drake Maye. So if we find out by season's end that we have the quarterback, now it's okay, cool. We got the quarterback, the coach is improving with his decision making, his roster development. Like now it's okay, cool. Now we have two selling points. Oh, Christian Barmore is back. You got Christian Gonzalez. Like you got Jordan. So you got some guys now that you'll be able to say, hey, we may not have had it. We might have missed the mark many times last year, but this is what we're doing in this building that we got better in this year, but we're going to improve upon this and you help that. So to me is the most important thing. So if we're going to fully embrace the rebuild, I'm speaking to myself and many others who have my mindset, you got to do everything possible to add to that in a positive way. You just do. We've seen what Nick Casario has done in Houston. We've seen what Detroit is now done with how it was rough in Dan Campbell's first year, and now they're a perennial contender in the NFC, but not just in the NFC, but in the NFL as a whole. So it can be done. It's just a matter of can you put the people in there that are going to be successful. Think about what Dan Campbell's doing, right? You had Aaron Glenn, who was a former corner, being your DC. You got Ben. What's his last name? Ben what? Ben Johnson, right? Is it Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Ben Johnson as the OC, who has been highly touted as someone who's going to be someone next head coach. So when you have those pieces around you, it elevates everybody,
No,
and
I'm with you.
that's
So
that's what I
here's
ultimately want.
the compromise that I'll allow for is, or like who the hell am I? But I think that bringing in Robert Sala during the season
Mhm.
shows that you don't have faith in Jerod Mayo. Whereas
We don't. We
whereas
don't right now. We
or
don't.
if you bring him in the offseason, then it looks like Jerod Mayo has learned from his mistakes and wants to make himself better, and he'll look better in the long run. I think any big coaching ad or a big name coaching ad right now, you're cutting his legs off, dude. So like I as someone who sat up on this very podcast 2 weeks ago and said that the players that are the coaches that look like Jerod Mayo don't get enough time to prove themselves, you should not be advocating for a big change like that.
I'm advocating because I want to see my team be successful. This is not a. This is once again. This is
They're not
above.
gonna they're not gonna win more than 4 games this year, dude.
No,
It
no,
doesn't
no, no,
matter.
no. Well, no, I didn't have to win more than two. So I mean, that's not what I'm getting. I'm saying you've been working on me for me to embrace that this is a full on rebuild, right? Even though I feel like it's been going on for a while, you're encouraging me, you're uplifting me to say, hey, Ray, it
It's
is
great, by the
year
way.
one, is year zero, whatever you want to call it of the rebuild. Fine. So if that's the case, and we're building foundation, I don't care who's in the fucking building. Put everybody in there possible that's going to help with the foundation in year zero, year one, year two, year 10, year whatever. Whoever you could get in there is going to help build a foundation, whether it's a tackling technique, whether it's running a different route tree, whatever you can do to improve all 53 men on that team. I want it done. I don't care how it looks. I don't care if you have to have a phone call, a weekly phone conference with him every week there, so he's not in the building, so that cameras are not looking around. So Mike Reese is not reporting on ESPN that Robert Saleh's in the building. I don't care how it looks. Find a way. Period. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way.
I mean, if you
Once again,
remember 2 weeks ago, I said that they should be calling Josh McDaniels and having him work with
right,
with
right,
Drake
okay,
Maye.
right. So to that point, that's no different than saying, "Oh, we don't trust AVP." Well, you're right. I don't fucking trust AVP. You're right. I don't. I don't.
I
I don't
know.
trust. I
Yeah.
don't. So, and right now, I don't trust DeMarcus Covington. Okay, so once again, results over feelings. Results. That's where I'm at. Results over feelings. If it's not working, it's okay. Let's get some other people out here that's like-minded, that can coach up things and go from there. That's all it is. Once again, they don't have to be here long term, but can they help the foundation right now so that they have that going forward? That's all that matters. And if we're missing that, that's sad. We're missing the point. When it's
I
like
see,
it's
see the point there.
yeah, it's insane. So, it is what it is. But like I said, we'll see what they do in the coming weeks. So the next game up before we switch over to basketball, um, we're now next up against facing the London Jags. Davis Bears demolished Jacksonville out there at home, 35-16. You'll hear more about that on the Power Record Show. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that for the first time this season, you may hear them on there. So that's just a big market tease for you Power Record fans out there. But yeah, we're next up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has looked abysmal all season. Trevor Lawrence, despite the contract, has not been the guy that he was supposed to be coming out of Clemson. Yeah. So just what do you see happening next week? What would look like a successful week in your mind?
Well, I just want to preface this by saying that I'm never in the hobby of advocating for someone to lose their job. That being said, a successful week next week looks like at the end of that game, Doug Peterson is no longer the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Mac Jones is now the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, as a Patriot organization, you have the ability now to get a little bit of revenge on Doug Peterson for the Philly special, and you can. I would just love nothing more as a Patriot fan to get to see with my own two eyes Mac Jones on the same field as Drake
Mhm.
Maye, so
Please,
you could
please.
just see what an actual NFL quarterback with arm strength looks like versus Mac
Mhm.
Jones.
Now, it'd be fucking funny is if they both threw for 300.
I know, because
That would be fucking crazy
I will
because
shred the defense if Mac Jones. I mean, I'll be calling for Jerod Mayo to be fired if Mac Jones throws for 300 yards on us.
but that's the thing. It's like it's been once again, Aaron Rodgers, who a lot of you said is not selling himself, he ripped you to shreds. Geno Smith ripped
Tweet
you to
more.
shreds.
Yeah, I've heard.
Purdy, potentially ripped you to shreds. I mean, obviously Tyler Huntley, but Tyler Huntley is not that good of a quarterback, so that makes sense. But then,
He's a Pro
um,
Bowler.
I know, but it's just like
So is Mac Jones.
yeah. So is Matt Jones. But it's like it's a joke. It's a big. That's the worst All Star game in pro sports by far. Well, at least now it is, anyways. But it's just like it's wild. I didn't think CJ Stroud was great yesterday. I didn't think he was great, but like I say, he did enough. At one point, I thought that May was outplaying Stroud in the third quarter, but like I say, it was just too many mistakes to overcome. Because once again, it's bad enough. It's hard enough to win when you don't make mistakes, let alone four of them, and thinking that you're going to be a team that's good, that talented, that disciplined. And to their credit, they've taken on the mindset of their head coach because he was a hard nosed player when he played. So go figure. But it is what it is. But
For Jacksonville, I mean, you don't have to be perfect to beat them. You still can't turn the ball over 4 times and
right,
beat any team in the NFL. I would love for Ramondre to have a good bounce back game, but I think that this is a game that Drake May can go off. Jacksonville's defense, it's not atrocious, but it's not. I mean, you're like what? I think they're 23rd in the league in defense.
mm,
Um, so like, there's going to be a chance there, and
yeah,
I think if you can get Ramondre healthy, keep building on Pop. You get Kendrick Bourne back into the mix. This could be the best game played in Europe by the Patriots in years, because it's going to take about 4 international games to wipe the taste of that Germany game out of our mouths from last year. That. I mean, I've said it a couple times this year. That possibly is the worst football game I've ever watched in my life, and it's been topped or matched at least twice this year. But I
Yep.
don't. I think because this is when coaches get fired. If you're on a bad team, it looks like you've lost the locker room, and you play in London, you're gonna get fired. So Doug
Yep.
Peterson has a real chance to be fired. I don't know what the hell's going on with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, maybe he's just. I mean, he's good, not great, but I don't blame Jacksonville for paying him what they paid him. That's what you need to pay for a quarterback. If you think they could be a top 15 quarterback, you have to pay them that amount of money. But he's not the guy. So I don't want him to get hurt. Maybe get benched. But I'd love to see Mac versus Drake. Like that's my dream.
Yeah, yeah, that would be. It's poetic justice. It's poetic justice about to happen. Um, I just hope they're up by 30-10. He just has to come in and do
Oh, and
whatever.
half.
Like, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, once again, it could be something where, yeah, they come out guns blazing and beat us, and be like, oh, first thing, throw like a 40-yard bomb to Booty again, and it'd be 7 other pitchers right away. So, if anything, the last 3 years, they're front running team. So when they get ahead, they usually win. But they just have to be up big, obviously.
They might need
Yeah.
to be up 30-10.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, that might be something. It's just like, yeah, it is what it is. But this is the game I said that they would win. I didn't think they would win until this moment. So I do have them winning on Sunday. I don't.
You had them at 1-6 going to the bye. I had them at 2-5.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so I think so. Um, they may win this game once again. I do think you're probably still 2-4 with Drake because you probably win the Seattle game. I feel like with him, you probably win the Seattle game. You still lose against the Jets and the 49ers, but I do think the Seattle and Miami game are winnable.
Yeah.
So that was winnable with him there. And yesterday proved that. So, but I mean, either way, they did what they did to help develop. He looked good on Sunday. Once again, there is hope in New England for the first time in a long time at that position. So we're thankful for that. And like I said, we'll see how they build up. So let's get into what I've been waiting on, something that's going to be a lot more exciting to talk about, although we feel like we found our quarterback of the future. But your Boston Celtics, my Boston Celtics, our Boston Celtics, your reigning, defending world champions are now, currently in the preseason. Their regular season starts on October 22nd against the new look New York Knicks. It's going to be a ring ceremony night. It's going to be really dope to be a part of that ceremony and be there. I've seen a little bit of how the ring looks. It looks pretty dope from just the thing they showed. They couldn't show the whole thing, obviously, but it looks pretty cool. So I look forward to being there for that. But just so far in the preseason, like I said, they have one more game on the 15th against Toronto, and they'll be done. But just what or who has stood out to you during this camp so far?
Well, it's got to be Peyton Richard. I think he's really settled into the fact that he's going to
Mhm.
be like he's never going to be a starter, and that's fine. I don't think so. But he could be like he should always his mindset should be I want to win the 6 man award every single year, and
Yeah, right.
if he can settle into that, I mean he's gonna be deadly. Because I think as he gets more shots, like his defense is never going to be great, but if he can keep improving on, especially his perimeter defense, I think that will be great. Keep working on the assist, but like he can just drop shots wherever the hell he wants to, dude. I mean, that's going to be. It has been fun to watch him develop. I mean, Bobby was one of his most the wildest takes of his rookie of the year, but he's going to be he's a champion.
This is what he envisioned.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is what he
yeah,
envisioned. So
sure. So I'm happy with that. I love the addition of Lonnie Walker. Like the rich just keep getting richer in the off season. But can I talk negative?
sure.
I'm scared shitless about our five. I have no idea because now you have Al Horford who's going to be 39. It is
Mm-hmm.
39. He's going to be 40 at the end of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many minutes can you possibly put on him, knowing that you don't know how long it's going to be until Kristaps comes back? And then
Mm-hmm.
is Luke Cornett or Xavier Tillman, like, are they good enough to hold down the fort for the first 30 games?
So obviously, super valid question. Obviously, right? I think we even had those issues last year, right? Thinking about,
Yep.
okay, could Porzingis stay healthy? He did for the most part of the year, obviously. Could Al was sustainable. I think him coming off the bench was huge. To that point, I still think Al should come off the bench right now. Luke Cornett has been amazing this preseason. Amazing, like better than I expected. No, seriously, like it's because it didn't dawn on me, but this is year 5 that he's been here. So he's played with Tatum and Brown. Like he's been around for a long time, and you need those type of guys. He knows his role. He knows that he's going to get most of his stuff off lobs, or offensive rebounds, or whatever, and he just fills the lane correctly, and he knows how to make that hockey assist really well. So to me, I think he's done enough in this preseason to be at least the starter for most of them. And then because we know that Horford, when he first got here, wasn't really playing back to back. So I feel like that's just been a thing the second half of his career, really since getting to Boston. So I'm fine with that. And to me, because Porzingis was there the other night on Saturday when they played, and I think that just him moving around, like he looked good at walking around. So I firmly believe he's going to be back at Christmas. I just firmly believe that.
Yep.
I just think they're looking to take precaution, which is fine. Like I get, like truth be told, if realistically I sent him to March, that's just because I'm paranoid in that regard. But I'm just like, let's let him sit to March, let him play the last 20 games and just go into the postseason, baby. But you can't prevent injury. And I was like, and I sound like a hypocrite because I can't be protective of him there, but then one Drake made it go into a line of fire. So either
I'm
way,
glad you said that, but
yeah, just play him. Yeah, just play him. So just play him. Whatever happens. But just play him. Get him out there because they're much better with him, out there. But for me, so you mentioned about paying Pritchard. I think for me, like you said, Lonnie Walker, you like sometimes we know a guy is good because we see them in different spots and they've been a Celtic killer, but to see them, on many possessions, like they're with your team and playing with your guys, like you forget he was drafted by the Spurs, right? Coming out of University of Miami. So Derek White was already familiar with him because they were teammates over there,
yep.
right? So he knew about Lonnie Walker's game and his discipline because you can't play for Pop and not be disciplined. So he did that, and he had a nice little stint last year, with Brooklyn. But I wanted to bring that up because we said about you mentioned about the embarrassment of riches, and it is, but the big, not big selling point, but the big issue or concern looming around Lonnie Walker is if he's going to make the roster, not because of his talent, but because of what it's going to cost financially. And my thing is, I guess because he'll be on a veteran minimum, it would be like 2.1 million. But because they're a repeater tax team, it would equate to like 8 or 9 million that they're really paying for him because of that. And honestly, in the words of Stephen A, that meme that went famous, we don't care. He's
Right.
balling. Pay that. Once again, everyone wants to get paid, bro. I'm sorry. Like to me, you're not justifying to me that JD Davison is better than Lonnie Walker right now. You're not. I don't
Nope.
care what he's been around, and I think JD Davison could be good elsewhere. I just think that he's kind of like right now he looks like Carson Edwards 2.0. And once again, that sounds awful because that sounds like super disrespect. But I just feel like he could be good if he ends up going somewhere else and getting that opportunity. He's not getting it here, and that's okay. We're in win now mode because of how the contracts are set up. So whatever player can help that the most, as much as I like JD Davison, that's not his role.
Yeah.
So like Drew Peterson, that's not his role. So it's like I want at least 1 through 11 and 1 through 12 to be guys that I know that can help out. I'm not saying Lonnie Walker is like your guy KCP because he's not. KCP is a better player. I don't want to sound crazy here, but could you be KCP light? And if that's the case, hello, like, hello, like, what are we talking about? Like, I just to
Right.
me, he's been balling. So I just want I want that on record. And
But
then,
also
just
with the team being up for sale this year, Wick, sorry, not Wick,
it's
Daddy,
a small thing.
it isn't going to care about the $8 million. They're about to make $6 billion. They don't care.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's something, it's whatever. Like, and I get it, right? It's really a Brad thing, right? Because Brad, since he's taken over, life's that last spot to be open, right? A few years ago it was Blake Griffin. And I'm like, yo, y'all gave Blake, respectfully, y'all gave Blake, that was at the end of his career, 2 mil. You telling me Lonnie Walker at 25 can't get 2 mil, bro? Come on, bro.
Right,
Come on. Come on.
right.
Like, come on. Like respectfully, like, I'm sorry. And once again, Blake was great here. Blake was awesome in this year here. I thought that he served a great purpose. I really wish that he had unretired, just came back in
Me
February.
too.
We could have got him his ring on the way out. Like that would have been great. But once again, like he was awesome while he was here. But for me, in addition to talking about Pritchard playing really well, I've loved what I've seen from Jaylen Brown this preseason as well.
He got big too. He put on muscle this
Yeah,
year.
put on muscle. Let's he's not fucking around, bro. He's
No.
not. Like it's like it's literally like he's literally saying, yo, y'all let us in the door. You fucked up. Because you kept saying that me and Jason couldn't win one. You let us in the door. Let me in. And
Yeah.
it's ooh. It's about to get
And
ugly.
then
I
and
think
then
that
you snubbed him first team All-NBA
right.
this year. You snubbed him from the Olympic team.
Team. Yep.
I mean,
Yep. Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
And he put on, I think it was like 13 pounds of muscle.
Yep. Yep.
He's
And you
about
got
to hurt some people.
Yep. And then you got him taking underwater photos like Muhammad Ali. Look out. Look out. Look out. Like, I'm like, listen, I am on board for this transformation. I love what I've seen from him mentality wise, to see the adaptation of Tatum's jump shot, because if it's looking like that all year, we're finally going to get back to the disrespect not really working, because disrespect has been crazy. Once again, the dude shot 38%. Obviously, he didn't shoot as well in the playoffs. Obviously, that can't be
Well, he
disputed.
never
But
does.
no, but I mean, I feel like last year was a little bit worse than it's been. You know what I'm saying? He just, because he ascended as a playmaker, got better as a defender, we were more accepting of it afterwards, obviously. But once again, if the jump shot, if that hitch is gone to an extent, watch out. And let's say it's looked good so far in the preseason, so hopefully he expounds upon that. But like I said, I love where our two best players are right now. I love it. They've been really moving the ball really well, and I just think that, to me, that's going to be the key to the season. Do not fall into the trap of thinking you got to get 40 a night for this team to win, because you don't. Neither one of them do.
Nope.
Get your 20 to 25. Let Pritchard get his 15. Let White get his 15. Holiday get his 12 or whatever. Like, and most nights, because they're smacking team. I don't know if you've seen the scores, but they're
Oh, yeah.
up by 30 teams already. And then, I mean, it's like, I love the fact that they've held on to what they said last year, that we're not skipping any steps. We're not. And so whether it's preseason, whether it's a regular season, whether we're Abu Dhabi, Japan, Africa, Brazil, whatever, like, when we step on this floor, it's kill or be killed. And that's what I'm talking about. Now it looks like, and hopefully they get to a point now where it's like, when you come into the Garden, it's no longer going to be sweet. And we started to find it out towards as the playoffs went on, that they started to get better at home and started to win more at home. So I'm hoping that's a trend going into the future, because I was tired of that being a real sticking point. So next, I want to get into because you kind of brought up Pritchard already, but is there anybody else that you feel can be an X factor, or do you still think it's just Pritchard, or anybody else that you think
I
could
mean,
be
listen,
X
the biggest,
factor, or the biggest one, I
I
should say?
guess the biggest X factor this year, if it happened, would be what if Jaylen Brown wins MVP and not Jason? Like, what if he comes out and just decides, you
Yeah,
know what?
I'd still be here for it. I'd be here for it.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be here for it.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I'd be here for it. Yeah, because once again, I'm just here for. Like I said, once again, however it looks, I don't care if one will get MVP. I care who gets Finals MVP though.
Right.
Meaning if one will get Finals MVP, that means that we won the damn thing. So that's all I
right.
care about. Oh, I'm good. But no, that would be a twist. I think because of politics, that wouldn't happen this year. But I don't think how things have gone down. I think that maybe the following year that's something that can happen, but there's no way he gets that done this year, unfortunately. You know, because of just NBA politics is a real thing. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out more as the season unfolds. But yeah, that would be crazy. I think for me, I gotta go with the X-Men, Xavier Tillman. Um, I don't know, Celtics fans, if y'all been watching, or just NBA fans in general. That jump shot, it started looking how it was in Memphis. It kind of tailed off when he got here, but it's looking like it did in Memphis at certain extents when he was in that playoff run with Memphis a couple years ago. He's shooting it confidently, and he looks more comfortable, like how D White looked comfortable here in year two. And I'm gonna say the same thing I said about D White. I'm gonna say the same thing about Xavier Tillman. He's going to win you a playoff game in the future. Book it right now. I'm putting it out there. I'm leaving no doubt. As you would say, I'm leaving no
So
doubt.
do you feel better or worse about uh, the five this year as opposed to last year?
Better because of how I'm seeing Tillman and Cornette play. Um, because now I know, like Tillman now earned their trust. Cornette has earned their trust more to be out there. So if you're doing, say if you're doing a rotation of like, you say, let's just say it's 30 games that Porzingis ends up missing, right? If you say, okay, Cornette, you're starting 10 games, Tillman, you're starting 10, Horford, you're going to start 10, right? Once again, that's ideal, right? It's never going to happen the way that you want it to happen, but that's just ideally how I think it should go. So, excuse me. So I feel like that would be the most ideal thing, but because of how comfortable they've looked in the preseason, and also too, we forgot about Kata. Kata's another guy. Kata's another guy who looked really good. I think the other night he had 12 points, 15 rebounds. Once again, that's impressive. I don't preseason record, I don't get that's impressive. 12 points, 15 rebounds, and the best part was 5 assists. 5 assists for a guy
Yeah.
who is the third or fourth center on the team, and he had 5 assists. So that to me lets me know that the messages are being preached from 1 to 15 that we move the ball and the ball finds good energy and everyone can eat. So that's a beautiful thing to watch, and which is going to lead to most teams getting blown out the building. Which is great for me because I'll hear Eddie Palladino say that's the ball game, and I'll go home on time. So it's a beautiful thing. So I look forward to a lot of those blowouts. I don't need a close game. I don't need excitement. I just want
Blow
to
'em out.
hear. I want to see the video of Red. They don't always show it up there, but I want to see the video of Red smoking a cigar because that means it's a ball game. So that's what I'm here for. So, but yeah, but I say yeah, Tillman is someone that should be he should do wonders a year two. And like I said, I want to be clear. I want to reiterate, he will win you a playoff game come this April or May or even in June. He hit one of the biggest shots in the finals in Game 3 when Dallas was going on that run. He hit that three in the corner. We kind of quiet that crowd out there. So yeah, I'm high on what he can do. This coming season. So you and I have always gone back and forth on what needs to get better or what I need to be more critical of. So we had this moment to do that now, right? We could talk about it because we talked about it earlier. But what do you want to see them improve on the most collectively going into the season?
Well, it's hard to really nitpick a team that just won a championship, and in a way that
Yeah,
they never they
is anyone like Kendo?
like they were supposed to win last year, and
Mm,
from start to finish, they were the most dominant team in the NBA. So honestly, what I want to see from them out of this year that we did not see last year is but this is it's so tough. I realize I'm saying this, but you can't you can't lose by 30 points to a Laker team that doesn't start LeBron James or Anthony Davis. Like,
mhm,
you can't have those games. Although again, they won a fucking championship. Other than that, though, I would just say, listen, I over the last couple of years have always been the guy that says like stop jacking up threes. Like if it's not falling, it's not falling. But again, they won. I would just say that in all the losses that we pointed out last year, every single loss with DK and I did that show about nitpicking those losses. It's when they were
mhm,
jacking up threes and they were shooting sub 27%. Whenever this
Right.
team shoots over 30% from three, they win. They fucking win. Always win.
Right.
Right. So you should know pretty early on. Like if you've thrown up 33s in the first half and only 6 have fallen, you have the talent to beat a team in the paint. You
Right.
can do
Right.
that.
Right.
So do it. But that's pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
they fucking ran it from start to finish last year, man. So
Hmm.
I'm just gonna say, like, don't believe your own hype.
Hmm.
Lots of teams have won one, a couple have won two. Like, you're here to be a generational team. Don't
Right.
stop.
Right. Yeah. Nope. I'm full on with that. I think for me, this is just collectively, I want us to be better with free throws because it's not just a JB thing. I felt no, I'm
Daily.
serious. It's not just a JB thing. I felt like they at times they missed free throws they should just hit. And once again, you're not going to go 24 or 25 every night, so I'm not expecting that. But you should be at least 20 or 25 every night, and that's
Yeah,
80%.
just shoot like
Yeah.
85% from the
Yeah,
from
you know what I'm
field
saying?
goal.
Like that's what I need. So I need that. Once again, I'm with you with the threes. Yes, analytically, excuse me, it makes sense because three is more than two. We get that. But I've said this since we started the show in 2020. In 2020, score at all three levels. It works.
Right.
So 15, 17, 19, 19, 17, 15. That's an old school drill. If you could literally do that drill all day, every day, and I promise, you'll be great mid-range scorers. You'll be great against the cup. Because once again, Jalen Brown is great at driving to the hoop. Jason Tatum has now become, it wasn't always the case. He's now become someone that if he gets to the rim, he's scoring on you. Drew Holiday plays in what they call the dunker position, and he's always open underneath for a layup or for a dump off to a big man. So I just think keep the main thing the main thing, and the main thing is for the Boston Celtics to score, not Tatum to score, not Jalen Brown to score, not Holiday to score, but for the Boston Celtics as a whole to either get 2 points or three or 4 point play, depending on who gets fouled. So that's what they have to keep in mind. Like you said, I love the don't believe the hype thing because once again, I think Joe was already preaching that. I think that he's a psycho in that regard, as they say. Like he's not believing the hype at all. He's like, look, yeah, you won it. Okay, so what we gonna do? What we gonna do now? Like, you gonna respond like champions, or you go bow out? So I love that. I think that's part of his mentality already. I do think he got a little bit of that from the year being under Ime as well, because Ime was on their ass about that as well, about not believing their own hype and stop playing like bitches, as he said in the lot in the in the huddle a couple of times throughout that season. So yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing I want them to focus on. I fully expect them to dominate again, especially if healthy. They had a really good record without Porzingis last year, so I just feel like they've been excellent with next man up. And yeah, I do think that you're looking at the next NBA dynasty. Like, yeah, I do, I really do. And once again, it's easy to say because people felt that way about Denver, and obviously Golden State had found a way to beat us in 2022, and then people thought Milwaukee was on their way too when they won in 2021. But just how this team is built, they should at least get one more. Once again, I don't know how
Yeah.
that's going to look when that's going to happen, but they should at least get one more, especially when your two best players are still under 30 and everyone's locked up for the next few years. So it's not like it's something where you have to worry about who needs to get re-signed. So I love that. So before we get out of here, some more things we could touch on. Who is your biggest threat to them in the East, and then just who's the biggest threat to you overall in the NBA?
In the East, it's got to be the Knicks with the addition of Cat. I think that team now, unless Tibbs plays a 6-man rotation for all 82 games and they're all fucking
Yeah,
gassed
crazy.
again. But with Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Ananobi, and Cat, that's a hell of a starting five. So
Right.
that will,
Yeah,
and I think Tibbs is a good coach. So
yeah,
that
he is.
that's
He is.
that they're gonna be formidable. I know you love Embiid, but I think that any team Embiid is on is a losing one. So, like, I think that they're gonna have
Yeah,
they'll probably have a better season for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh god, Paul
Love George.
George. But I tell you who I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about the Bucks.
Yeah. But they got so I mean obviously for those that listen to the show we know why you're not hiring them. I get that. They're number four for me too though. So let me be clear. I agree with you on that. And it's not just about the coaching. I just think that they had their window and they try to bring it back with getting Dame, and Dame at many times was awesome last year. I just don't know if their core can stay healthy, and
Yeah,
that's one. And two, are you athletic enough to deal with Philly, to deal with New York, and then to deal with Boston? So to me, that's where they're fourth for me. Once again, Giannis changes a lot and can do things that that Tatum can do. He can do things that Embiid can do. Like so, he's he's the equalizer in many in many cases. Um, but can the rest of your team be there? Now they did sign Gary Trent over the summer, so I think that Gary Trent Jr. is a really good six man. He played with Dame in Portland, so I think that there's some familiarity there. Excuse me. So I think he's going to be really good. But yeah, I'm higher on Embiid because the talent is just it's the dude is when he's on. I mean, a big man should not be able to move the way he's able to move at times, which is why the knee injuries happen. And Philly fans, most of y'all I love, but some of y'all I can't stand. Um, y'all might need to face the music this year. Y'all may have 2 or 3 years left of like Embiid at this level because the fact that he's already or they're already nursing, no pun intended, they're already nursing the knee injury. Um, Which I get, right, because it is preseason, but it's like he has struggled the majority of his career with conditioning. So him to miss this time where conditioning was key and you get your
yep.
win back, you get your you get your repetitions in, um, it's gonna be hard. It's hard. And once again, he's gonna have to lean on PG. Maxi is real. So for those that know me off
I mean, he's a Celtic killer.
yeah, Maxi is a problem. So um that could be the guy that carries them in the regular season. Because I think that's what Embiid needs too. I think he's had to do so much in the regular season that he's damn near out of gas come playoff time. To me, I run everything through Maxi. I know Paul George has got there, and I know they finally got rid of Tobias Harris, aka J. Cole. Um, so I get it. I get it. If I'm them, and we saw in Game 5 against Philadelphia. I mean, against New York in the playoffs when Maxey hit that three from the logo to win the game. Oh, try to get whatever it was. That shit was crazy. I have not seen a shot that gutsy in a long time. I don't care what round it was. Like that was incredible. So to me, I'd run my offense through him. He is like that. He is the real deal. But then let Embiid and Paul George do what they can in the playoffs. Once again, they have not been past the second round since 2001 when
Right.
Philadelphia played Milwaukee.
Since they had the
Um,
answer.
finals. Yes, without AI. You know what I'm saying? So and at that time AI wasn't artificial intelligence. So it's wild. It's wild. But for me to answer my own question that I asked you, I agree. I think that it is the Knicks as well. But then I just think that in overall, I want to jokingly say the Heat, but it's just I feel like that's been a running joke on the show. But we can't even say it's a joke because at full strength they've done really good things against us. So I'll say in the East it's the Knicks and the Heat. But so I'm going to
Yep.
give the Heat some respect. I'm not going to
It's
be
Knicks, Heat, Philly, and the
yeah.
West. It's probably Denver,
Denver,
OKC, uh,
yeah, Minnesota
and
probably. Yeah.
you still feel that way about Minnesota even without Cat?
Well, listen, I'm just because of how the trade happened. Like, I'm still high on Anthony Edwards as a player. I'm excited. I mean, granted, this is not going to happen. This will be, and this will be ironic too. Uh, we talked about Mac Jones and Drake May. How funny would it be if it was Celtics Grizzlies in the finals next year, and Marcus Smart makes his return to TD Garden in Game
Oh,
One?
I would love
That
that.
that, that would be that would be insane.
And then we sweep them.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. But John Murray probably gets you one though. He's that good. But like you said, he said I'll find in the West. So we go find out. So I'm hoping they're healthy. I hope that they're all healthy. They had the injury bug was crazy on that team last year. So I'm hoping that they are all healthy. I like Jaw a little bit better than Ant. I know DK is high on Ant as he should because the dude is a problem. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. But I think like you said, Denver, Minnesota, and then who was the team you said I was? You said
I said OKC.
yeah. I mean, and listen, I think they're kind of flying under the radar, mainly I think because of the market.
which is
But
wild because they were the number 1 seed last year.
one seed, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you have, SGA, people forget they made the first big splash of the offseason. They got traded for Alex Caruso. And, he's a very formidable, wing defender. He was a champion on the LA team in the bubble in 2020. He made some big shots in his time in Chicago. So and I can hear Stacey King saying, "Turn up the AC." So he's a really talented player. So um, I think he's going to help them immensely. I love Clay in Dallas. Obviously, I think it's going to take some time for that to gel. But Luka never played with a shooter like that ever. So Luka might lead the league in assists. he hit 14 a game. Like that's that, and that might be on the low end. So
So you like so
well,
you really so you think Dallas with Luka, Kyrie, and Clay, like you think that's a formidable big three
I
if
I
if they're all
think
healthy?
if I think if Clay comes in motivated and says, "Let me remind," because the thing is, let's be real. People think that Clay is washed because of what's happened the last couple of years, right?
Right.
And at times he's looked washed, right? Obviously, the last game against Sacramento in the playoffs, he was 0-10, which is unbelievable that he was 0-10, right? We would have had pitchforks out here if he went 0 for 10, right? I think that lights a fuel under him, and he's going to remind people, especially out west, you guys thought it was sweet. I'm not some random guy off the streets. I'm a 4-time champion. I am the second greatest shooter to ever play this game, and I'm gonna remind you come this season. And for one, I hope that he does well, just not against us. So because I'm a Clay Thompson guy, I think that Game 6 Clay is a real thing.
Second
Yes,
greatest shooter of all time.
no, I should say, yeah, second, yeah, he is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He is. That's his former teammate is first, and then the guy that played for us is third, Ray Allen. So,
So you would take we don't have time for this, but you would take
but
Clay
no, no,
Thompson
real quick, and no,
o
I'm saying in a vacuum. Once again,
over Ray Allen?
I love Ray. When we've seen Clay and Steph do, once again, we caught it up close. We caught it up close in the finals. I was right behind the bench, like like and maybe it's my PTSD talking, right? Maybe it's my PTSD from what happened.
I mean, that's
Maybe he's probably the best dude. But like I said, once again, if people have Ray above Clay, that's not an awful thing. Even if people talk about Reggie, because people love Reggie Miller too. I don't disagree with that. I wouldn't dispute that. But for me, it's Steph, Clay, Ray. Now, like I said, now anyways, Steph, Clay, Ray, then Reggie, or if you want to put Bird there, whatever, as shooters all the time. Because whatever we seen them do the last 11, 12 years has been nothing short of amazing. And Mark Jackson told us, he said, "Hey, I'm coaching the greatest shooting backcourt ever," and he wasn't lying. Like
it was
he
not.
wasn't lying. So I'm with you. I'm with you when you're right, Mark. So that's that. But I wanted to pull it back to the Celtics as we close out because we're getting a little long in time. So regular season win prediction. So like I said, they were 64-18 this year. Obviously, they're starting the season without Porzingis. So what do you see them, or what do you predict that they will do this season?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 60-22.
Mhm,
Is gonna be I think that's they're gonna get to the 60 win mark. I'm not one of
mhm.
those guys that cares if they go 72 and or 73
Yeah,
and
right.
9. I
Mhm.
don't want any of that shit. I want
Right.
better 19.
Right.
So if you need to rest people, and as long as you get the number 1 seed, you get home court advantage. But if you can win, if you can do that with getting 58, 57 wins, fucking do
Right.
it. I don't care.
Right. I think with them, especially the year they a couple years ago when they went to the finals against Golden State. And I've said this before. You know how I feel about winning on the road. I People can say what they want about Tatum. One game on the road, I trust him. I've seen it. So in Philly, I've seen it in Milwaukee. I've seen it. So he did it. He did it this year too in Cleveland. And like I trust him. If I need one game on the road at this stage of his career, I trust Tatum to get and Brown. Now we got to put them together. I trust both of them to say, "Hey, we're not going out like this." So I'm okay with a top 2 seed. Like I said, so if there's like say if it's just I feel like there's a scenario where the Knicks just play so hard, they play their way into a one. No, I'm serious because you know how
Probably, yeah.
so they just play their way into a 1 seed and they go like 61-21, right? and then we just go 16-22. I think for me, I'm going to go 59-23. So I think that the Knicks just kind of play their way into the 1 seed. So it's just like, once again, I'm being objective as possible. I do think the Celtics will still beat them in the playoffs, but I just think in the regular season, it's going to matter a little bit more to the Knicks. And because you play for Tibbs, you're going to have to play a little bit harder. So that's just kind of how it's going to go. But I have Celtics Knicks in the conference finals, and I can't wait for that matchup. I think that's going to be 7 great games. I hope that not just those 2 teams, but a majority of teams stay healthy in the NBA, because it does weaken the product when guys are out for a long second time. So I hope that guys are only out for rest or for a back-to-back. So yeah. So I hope that's a good thing. But once again, we should be in tune for a great season. Excuse me. Have a great chance to go back-to-back. And like I said, you go from becoming a good team to a historic team if you win back-to-back. Once again, think about Detroit. You think about the Lakers. You think about Chicago, obviously. You think about Bill Russell's Celtics back in the day. And quite frankly, if you do this, if you win back-to-back, you do something that Larry Bird never did.
Right.
Yeah, although he went to 4 straight finals in the 80s and they won 2 of them, should have been 3, but some guy named Magic Johnson, hit that hook shot, but it's okay. Should have been 3 out of 4, but it's okay. That you get looked at differently. So, how you want this to be, how you want this to go down. So, like Denzel from Training Day, what you want to do, what you want to do. You want to be you want to be elite, or you want to be you want to be just good. So you want to be elite. It's time to go back-to-back. Leave no doubt. Leave your mark on history. So one thing we always do is leave our mark on history. So for Money Mike Marcangelo, I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. So next time we'll see you. Peace.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs Exposed, where we dive into the stories of visionary entrepreneurs revolutionizing the workforce. Our ongoing mission is to showcase founders and creators doing amazing things in business and beyond. If you're a founder, CEO, tech enthusiast, or someone generally interested in startup land, join me, Adam Levinter, as I dive into what makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, heard you like podcasts? Well, check out Dollar Bets. 2 sports guys with faces for radio, betting live money against each other on air. That's Dollar Bets with a Z. Find us on the Winner's Edge.